Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you a very simple way to remember the structures that passing via skull foramins. We made video part 1 and this will be part 2. The link for part 1 will be on the top of the screen. Structures passing via superior orbital fissures are lacrimal nerve, oculomotor nerve, abducens nerve, nasociliary, frontal nerve, superior ophthalmic vein, trochlear nerve, and inferior ophthalmic vein. Lacrimal, frontal, and nasociliary are branches of the ophthalmic V1, which is a branch of trigeminal nerve. How can you remember this one? You can remember it by remembering this mnemonic. Lots of not fun stuff toward inside. Lots of not fun stuff toward inside. L for lacrimal nerve, O for oculomotor nerve, A for abducens, N for nasociliary, F for frontal nerve, S for superior ophthalmic vein, T for trochlear, I for inferior ophthalmic vein. The next foramen is jugular foramen. Structures passing via jugular foramen are cranial nerve 9, 10, and 11, jugular vein, the internal jugular vein, and the lower end of sigmoid sinus, occipital artery, and emissary vein. How you can remember this one? You can remember it easily by remembering this mnemonic. Have a cup of joe, which means coffee. If you Google JOE, it will mean coffee. Have a cup of joe before you jog for 9, 10, or 11. Before you run for 9, 10, or 11 minutes. Stupid way to memorize, but there's nothing you can understand here. You have to memorize this stuff. So have a joe, JOE, will give you jugular vein for J, the occipital in the middle, O, occipital artery, and E for emissary. And you can remember the cranial nerve by remembering 9, 10, or 11 minutes. So the whole mnemonic is have a cup of joe, which means coffee, before you jog for 9, 10, or 11 minutes. And the most important structure passing via foramen lacerum are internal carotid artery, greater petrosal nerve, and deep petrosal nerve. How can you remember this one? You can remember it by remembering the mnemonic. Lana has great and deep care for her pets. Lana has great and deep care for her pets. Lana for lacerum. Great for greater petrosal nerve. Deep for deep petrosal nerve. Care, the C-A-R-E as shown in the screen, is the start of carotid, internal carotid artery. The word pets, B-E-T-S, will remind you of the petrosal. So Lana has great for greater. How you can remember petrosal? By remembering her pets. Lana has great and deep care for her pets. Pets will remind you of petrosal nerve. Care will remind you of carotid artery. But you may ask question, how I can differentiate between internal carotid artery or external carotid artery? And the answer is simple, because we're speaking about cranial. So there's no chance of speaking about the external carotid. It has to be the internal carotid. And if you don't understand this one and you want to memorize it, you can memorize it by memorizing that pets live inside the house. So pets live inside internally. This will remind you of the internal carotid, not the external one. It should not be the external, logically. Okay, structure passing via foramen ovale are otic ganglion, V3, which is a mandibular nerve, third branch of trigeminal, accessory meningeal artery, lesser petrosal nerve, and emissary vein. Bear in mind, we don't mention all the structures, we mention the important structures. How you can remember this one? You can remember it by remembering the word ovale. Foramen ovale. So O for otic ganglion, V for V3 mandibular nerve, third branch of trigeminal, A for accessory meningeal artery, L for lesser petrosal nerve, and E for emissary vein. The next foramen is foramen magnum. Structure passing via foramen magnum are spinal cord, medulla oblongata, arachnoid, which is one of the meninges, spinal meninges, comprising dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater. Hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve does not go through the foramen magnum. It passes through a canal in the hypoglossal canal, which is adjacent to the foramen magnum. But I mentioned it here to make the mnemonic make sense. Please bear in mind, hypoglossal nerve does not go through the foramen magnum. It passes through hypoglossal canal. External occipital protuberance, which is a bony landmark on the external surface of the occipital bone. External occipital protuberance is not a structure passing via the foramen magnum, but is so close to the foramen magnum, so I included it in the mnemonic. And lastly, dura mater, which we mentioned it twice now. The tough outermost layer of the meninges, so we mentioned it twice. Why I did that? I want the mnemonic to make sense. Okay, foramen magnum in the word is smashed. S for spinal cord, M for medulla oblongata, A for arachnoid, which is one of the meninges, S for spinal meninges, including the arachnoid, H for hypoglossal nerve, which, as I said, it does not pass through the foramen magnum, but it passes via hypoglossal canal, which is very close to the foramen magnum, as I will show in the picture in a minute. External occipital protuberance is a bony landmark. It's not a structure passing via the foramen magnum. I mentioned it to make the mnemonic logical. And lastly, dura mater. A last structure is the optic canal, which I just included for the sake of completion. Optic canal, two important structures passing via it, optic nerve and ophthalmic artery, which we can call it optic artery. I'm going to show you the pictures of these foramens. As you can see here, this is the optic canal. Just on the side is superior orbital fissure. Then you have foramen rotundum here, which we spoke about it in the last video. Make sure to check that video. I'm going to link the video. It will appear on the top of the screen. And this is the foramen ovale. This is a jugular foramen. And as you can see here, this is hypoglossal. The yellow one here is hypoglossal, this one, and it's so close to the foramen magnum. That's why I included it in one mnemonic. There's another picture for foramen ovale, foramen magnum, rotundum, spinosum, and lacerum. As you can see here, here jugular foramen on the side. It's quite obvious. The question on the MRCS OSCE exam, the examiner may ask you to identify the foramen, and then he will ask you what's other structure passing via this foramen. Thank you, good luck. Next we're going to continue in the mnemonics for the rest of the anatomy, especially regarding the MRCS OSCE stations. I really want to mention, mnemonics can help you memorize. But if you understood the point without mnemonic, that's the best. Understanding is more superior than memorization. These mnemonics will help you memorize, but if you have a way to understand the point without mnemonics, that's better, of course. But use this mnemonic to help you memorize. Good luck. If you like this video, please subscribe, give us a thumb up. Lastly, good luck with your exam.